Imagine this. It's February 1954. President Dwight D. Eisenhower allegedly vanished from public view for an entire night. But what if he didn't just disappear? What if he was in a meeting with beings not from this world? But the story goes that Eisenhower secretly visited Epworth Air Force Base, not for a military inspection, but to witness an historic encounter with extraterrestrial visitors, beings who supposedly called themselves Etherians. So the big question is, did the leader of the free world actually come face to face with alien life? And if so, why did he decide to keep it from the public? Therefore, if true, this meeting could change everything we know about Earth's place in the universe, yet it remains one of history's most closely guarded mysteries. Today, we're diving into the hidden truth behind Eisenhower's rumored alien encounter. Now, could this story really be true, or is it just another piece of modern mythology? Either way, you may not believe it. To understand why this story fascinated so many for decades, let's set the stage. It was early 1950s, a time of immense tension and curiosity about the lay beyond our world. The Cold War had everything on edge, with world powers racing to dominate not only Earth, but a potentially outer space as well. The Roswell incident of 1947 had ignited public interest in unidentified flying objects, or UFOs. Strange sightings in the skies were no longer dismissed so easily. The U.S. government was inundated with reports of unidentified aerial phenomena, yet curiously, official statements always brushed them off as encounters as weather balloons, experimental aircraft, or outright illusions. Now, in this atmosphere of secrecy and suspicion, President Dwight D. Eisenhower allegedly disappeared for one night in February 1954, right in the middle of a visit to Palm Springs, California. Now, official records show that he was suddenly unavailable and had to skip a scheduled public event, and the White House press corps was informed that he had suffered a minor dental emergency and was receiving treatment from a local dentist. However, many believe this was a cover story, and according to reports and leaked accounts, Eisenhower was actually at Epworth Air Force Base meeting with beings from another planet. Now, this is where things get strange. Eyewitnesses, including a man named Gerald Light, noted metaphysical researchers claimed that he was present at the base and saw Eisenhower meet with extraterrestrial beings who had arrived in advanced spacecraft. Light described the scene as complete collapse and confusion, and as those who was present tried to comprehend what they were seeing. He later claimed that he witnessed multiple types of alien craft, each different in design and technology, a sight that will shatter conventional understanding of what's possible. But here's the problem. No official confirmation or credible documentation exists to support Light's account. Those who were reportedly with him at the base never confirmed his story, and Eisenhower himself never spoke publicly about any encounter with extraterrestrials. Now, skeptics argue that all of this is a fabrication, pointing to the lack of hard evidence. Yet the contradictions remain. Despite the skeptics, the story refuses to fade. Why would someone like Gerald Light, along with several other witnesses, risk their reputations to sell such an outlandish story? And why, if the government truly had nothing to hide, did Eisenhower's alleged dental emergency come to such cloud of secrecy? The question only grows from here, suggesting that there may be more to the story than meets the eye. So could Eisenhower have actually met with extraterrestrial, or is this just another elaborate myth? And if it's true, what other secrets might still be buried at the government archives waiting to be uncovered? Here's where the story takes a sharp turn. Just days before Eisenhower's supposed encounter, Gerald Light wrote a letter to Meade Lane, the director of Borderline Sciences Research and Associates, detailing him what he claimed to have seen at Edwards Air Force Base. In his letter, Light describes an overwhelming scene. He and a handful of other prominent figures, including a newspaper reporter and a financial advisor, were allegedly invited to witness something beyond belief. Multiple alien spacecraft and extraterrestrial beings who had arrived in them. Now, Light spoke of an almost surreal atmosphere at the base with military officials, scientists that was in shock, struggling to make sense of what they were witnessing. But here's where things get even stranger. According to Light, these aliens described as Etherians were human-like in appearance and subtly different with slightly distorted features. They reportedly communicated in fluent English and spoke about their desire to make a peaceful contact with humanity. They wanted to initiate an educational program to help humans understand their existence, a plan that would ultimately make extraterrestrial life an accepted reality on Earth. This was the moment, Light claimed, when Eisenhower made a crucial decision. Fearing the social upheaval that might follow, he supposedly refused to give the aliens permission to openly reveal themselves, arguing that humanity simply was not ready for such a revelation. Instead, the story goes that the president and the aliens agreed to maintain secrecy, at least for time being. This decision, if really happened, would mean that Eisenhower and the U.S. government consciously chose to hide the existence of extraterrestrial life from the public. But despite Light's detailed account, mainstream media either ignored or dismissed his story, labeling it as science fiction or conspiracy. The press never seriously questioned the strange dental emergency explanation, and Light's letter faded into the background, left mostly to niche UFO publication and enthusiasts. Even those who encountered the story in its early days were hesitant to believe it, fearing that social and professional repercussions associating themselves with something so unbelievable. This lack of serious investigation only fueled suspicion among those who were already questioning the government's transparency on UFO matters. Why wasn't Light's letter given more attention? Why was the name of the prominent witnesses alleged present at the base, like the financial advisor Edward Norris and Bishop McIntyre, not pursued by the journalists or investigators? Was this story simply too explosive for mainstream media to handle? Now, this unexplored account was the first crack in the official story. It suggested not only that an extraterrestrial encounter might have happened, but also the decision was made at the highest levels to suppress it. The implications are staggering, raising questions not only just about that night in 1954, but about the potential for the government's secrecy on an unimaginable scale. As the story deepens, the implications of Eisenhower's alleged encounter goes beyond a single night at Edwards Air Force Base. If true, this is the event that marked the beginning of an elaborate system that was designed to keep the public in the dark. So who benefits from hiding the truth about extraterrestrial life, and how deep does the secrecy really go? To answer this, we need to look at what followed in the years after 1954. During the 1950s and 1960s, UFO sightings were frequently reported across the United States, and the government response was consistent: dismiss, discredit, and deflect. Though projects like Project Blue Book, the U.S. Air Force launched investigation into the sightings, but instead of looking for answers, the goal seemed more like damage control. By classifying most reports as misidentified aircraft or natural phenomena, officials worked to downplay the possibility of extraterrestrial involvement. Then there is Majestic 12, the infamous group that some believe that was established by President Truman in 1947, shortly after the Roswell incident. Now, allegedly, this comprised of highly ranked military intelligence and scientific figures. Majestic 12's role was to manage and conceal evidence of extraterrestrial encounters from the public. Now, though the U.S. government had never confirmed the existence, the leaked documents suggest that Majestic 12 had a sweeping authority to monitor, to suppress, and even manipulate the public perceptions about UFOs. Now, if this group did exist, it would mean that a small, powerful network within the government held control over any information about alien life, ensuring that only a select few ever knew the full story. But the conspiracy may go even further. Enter the private sector, specifically defense contractors and aerospace corporations. Companies like Lockheed Martin, Boeing, and Northrop Grumman hold the long-standing contracts with the U.S., particular in classified military technology and experimental aircraft. In fact, Lockheed Martin's Skunk Works division, famous for developing cutting-edge aircraft like the U-2 and the SR-71 Blackbird, have been rumored to possessing technology far beyond the publicly known. Some UFO researchers suggest that these corporations may have access to alien technology, possibly reverse engineered from crashed spacecraft. Now, by keeping this information classified, the company secure exclusive control of advanced technologies that could revolutionize energy, travel, and defense. Who benefits from this arrangement? The government. They retain its authority and avoids public panic, while private defense contractors continue profiting from exclusive technologies that keep them at the cutting edge. It's a mutual beneficial system. The military gets advanced capabilities, while the corporations maintain lucrative contracts and shielded patents. But for the system to work, secrecy is essential, and so is the public ignorance. If these technologies was revealed as being of extraterrestrial origin, it could not only disrupt the defense industry, but also ignite calls for transparency, accountability that would threaten the entire structure of power and profit. Furthermore, throughout the years, whistleblowers and former government insiders have come forward claiming knowledge of secret projects and concealed evidence. Some, like retired Air Force officers, have alleged that they were tasked with intercepting and concealing UFO sightings. But curiously, many of these whistleblowers find themselves discredited, silenced, or even legally threatened. They claim that they face intimidation and their credibility questioned and their careers destroyed. Now, could this be a tactic to discourage others from even speaking out? This level of secrecy and control points to an organized effort to keep the truth hidden. By keeping information compartmentalized, only accessible to select few within the military, intelligence community, and certain private companies, knowledge of any extraterrestrial encounter remains restricted, insulating those in power from accountability. And for decades, the public has been left in the dark, fed a carefully controlled narrative about UFOs, while true stories remain buried. So, if Eisenhower's 1954 encounter really happened, it wasn't just a meeting between one man and alien species. It was the first chapter in a much larger story of concealment and control, a story that continues to shape what we know or we think we know about the universe today. Just when it seems like the Eisenhower Etherian story was about a covert government operation and the influence of corporate interests, an unexpected figure entered the narrative. A figure with motives that go beyond politics or profit. In the 1990s, a new revelation came to light, tying the story of extraterrestrial secrecy to none other than the Vatican. Now, according to some of the sources, it wasn't only government agency or corporate players involved in hiding the truth. The Catholic Church, one of the oldest and most influential institutions on earth, had a stake in the story as well. A former high-ranking intelligence official claimed that the Vatican had been notified of the alien encounter shortly after the alleged took place in 1954. The church, which historically had strong influence over global perception of humanity's place in the universe, reportedly expressed deep concerns about the public's ability to reconcile religious belief with the existence of extraterrestrials. And for centuries, the church had shaped human understanding of creation, positioning Earth as the central of humanity as unique. The acknowledgement of other beings, not just anywhere in the cosmos, but visiting our planets, would shake the theological foundation of millions. It's said that the Vatican representative played a quiet and yet significant role in urging the U.S. governments to keep the encounters hidden. They allegedly warned Eisenhower that revealing the existence of the Etherians could unravel social order and causing a spiritual and cultural upheaval. The Vatican even had a covert team of astronomers, scholars referred to as Secretum Omega, who were tasked to studying the existence of extraterrestrial life and its potential impact on the church doctrine. Now, this revelation pulls the story in a completely new direction. If the Vatican was involved, the Eisenhower Etherian encounter wasn't just a matter of national secrecy. It became a matter of global control over humanity's belief and identity. This twist deepens the mystery, suggesting that the decision to conceal alien contact involved not only political and scientific leaders, but also one of the most powerful religious authorities on the planet. Now, with this new layer exposed, the question isn't just about Eisenhower might have seen that day, but it's about how far-reaching consequences of alien contact could be and what else may be still hidden under the layers of control designed to keep humanity in the dark. As we reach the peak of this story, the implication of Eisenhower's alleged encounter and the cover-up that followed becomes strikingly clear. If the U.S. government did make contact with extraterrestrial beings in 1954, the decision to hide this knowledge set off a chain reaction that continues to impact us today. Decades of secrecy and manipulation have created a system where crucial discoveries, ones that could potentially transform human life, are kept from public view. Now imagine what might be possible if the technologies rumored to be derived from these encounters were openly developed and shared. We have advanced propulsion systems, energy sources beyond fossil fuels, medical advancement. These are technologies that could revolutionize our world, but instead they remain locked within the walls of classified programs and private contractors, shielded by layers of secrecy and red tape. The result? A world where potential to end energy crisis, reduce pollution, or even cure certain diseases exists, but remains inaccessible to the public. And who pays the price for this secrecy? Ordinary people who are forced to live with consequences of energy shortage, environmental degradation, and limited access to groundbreaking healthcare. While a handful of powerful corporations and government agencies maintain control over this knowledge, the rest of society remains in the dark, bounded by outdated technology and resources that no longer serve us. And consider this, even the nature of the information we consume could be part of the manipulation. See, the persistent stigma around UFOs and extraterrestrial contact is no accident. By casting these ideas as conspiracy theories, the public is discouraged from asking questions, and those who do often are ridiculed or marginalized. This narrative ensures that most people dismiss the idea of extraterrestrial contact without even ever exploring it. Now, through carefully controlled information, we're conditioned to accept a version of reality that aligns with the interests of those in power, while alternative viewpoints are systematically suppressed. But perhaps the most profound consequence is the manipulation of psychological. For decades, humans have been told that we're alone in the universe and that our existence is isolated and exceptional. Imagine how differently we may see ourselves and our place in the cosmos if we knew we weren't alone. Knowing that intelligent life exists beyond Earth would fundamentally alter our understanding of history, religion, science, and human potential. It will shift our perspectives from a limited earthbound view to one that embraces vastness and possibilities of the universe. Ultimately, the stakes are personal for each of us. If Eisenhower's meeting really did happen, the decision to suppress it has influenced the trajectory of our lives in ways we would never fully understand. From the energy we use to the worldview we hold, the consequences of this secret have permeated countless aspects of our existence. And while this story may sound like science fiction, the endearing mystery around it keeps us wondering, what else don't we know? And what other truths are still hidden and guarded by the system designed to protect the power rather than empower the people? If the truth of extraterrestrial contact was indeed buried in 1954, we're not just dealing with a cover-up. We're facing the possibility that our entire understanding of reality have been carefully constructed, shaped to serve interests far removed from our own, and that perhaps it's the most unsettling revelation of them all. So, if the story holds any truth, How have the authorities responded as details of Eisenhower's alleged encounter continue to seep out over the years? The answer, it seems, is an intensification of secrecy and control. Each time information surfaced through whistleblowers, declassified files, or leaked accounts, the government response is swift: deny, discredit, and deflect. UFO sightings remain categorized as unidentified. Official reports often lack transparency, and individuals who speak out frequently find themselves dismissed or even publicly humiliated. Now, this pattern sends a clear message: the entire system has no intention of releasing the full story. Now, in recent years, the government agency have begun to acknowledge the existence of unexplained area phenomena, but these omissions are carefully controlled and limited, revealing only fragments of a much larger picture. Now, by feeding us bits and pieces, authorities seem to hope, well, it'll satisfy us without uncovering the whole truth. And as long as we accept a partial disclosure without pushing further, they remain in control. But here's the challenge. For us as individuals, it's easy to feel powerless, as though that these revelations are beyond our influence. Yet history has shown that the public pressure and persistent questioning can bring secrets to light. And after all, the truth, if it exists, belongs to us all and not just a select few. So what can we do? Well, the first step is to simply stay curious and critical. Don't take the official narrative at face value. Explore the different sources, question the inconsistency, and seek out new perspective. If we push for transparency, and if we refuse to let these stories fade into obscurity, we may just uncover the truth that have been hidden for decades. The universe may be more complex and connected than we've been led to believe. And perhaps by staying vigilant, we'll one day break down the barriers that keep us from fully understanding our place in it. If you found this story intriguing, search for Roderick Martin here on YouTube and join over 21,000 truth seekers, and I promise you, you will not be disappointed.